Hey, I'm Toina with Guiding Principles Bible Study, a Destiny Education production. Welcome to Friday Night Bible Study. Let me ask you something. Are you getting tired of listening to all the lies that are going on across every media platform? Tired of political candidates who constantly say one thing and then do another? Are you tired of the way that things are going in this world? Tonight, we're going to talk about lies and what those mean in the eyes of the Father and how he sees them and how he takes them. So, what we're going to do is we're going to come out of Revelation chapter 22, verses 14 through 16. And today we're going to come out of the New Living Translation, the Tyndale NLT. And here's what it says: Blessed are those who wash their robes. They will be permitted to enter through the gates of the city and eat the fruit from the tree of life. Outside the city are the dogs, the sorcerers, the sexually immoral, the murderers, the idol worshippers, and all who love to live a lie. I, Jesus, have sent my angel to give you this message for the churches. I am both the source of David and the heir to his throne. I am the bright morning star. So, you've heard us talk a lot about people who want to live in the lie. And so, one of the reasons that we do this Bible study is to give you the freedom to leave that lie behind you and to keep moving forward. I got a call from a client this week, and I want to share this story with you real fast because hopefully it'll give you some context. This client had been out on business and they were on their way back when one of their clients, so my client's client, reached out to them and accused them of being awful things, called him all sorts of names, said that he was a con artist and that he was a lover of money more than a lover of the people, that he used the people, but loved the money. And so as a result of this, the client's client was terminating his agreement with the person. Now, this was interesting. And let me explain why. This was coming from someone who is a leader in a church. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm very clear that some of the nastiest people come out of churches. And I want you to always be aware of that because what people forget is this: you cannot come to the Father unless he calls you. So don't think there aren't a lot of people up hiding up in a church where they pretend like they have been called. They are the wolves in sheep's clothing. And so, as I was reading this text message that was sent to this client, because he felt the need to forward it to me, and that's not a complaint, it just is what it is. And as I was reading this and I read what his response was, one of the things that fascinated me was that as this client put together all the necessary paperwork to support what needed to be done, there wasn't a single piece of documentation that wasn't available. This documentation showed my client's client for being someone who was a liar. The reason I'm bringing this verse to you is this: we often think that people get away with the things that they do because we don't see anything major happen to them. You know, somebody will go to jail or be convicted and then they're roaming around on a campaign trail. If that's not what you're seeing, I don't know what to tell you. The fact of the matter is that we don't often see what appears to be justice on this side of the kingdom. But I want you to understand something. God is no joke. And he said straight up, I will not be mocked. There are a lot of people who try. And when they do on a big enough platform, they often get spanked. Churches burn down, somebody comes out of nowhere and shoots them. There's a lot of stuff that happens with these people when they go out of their way to start causing all these problems. Conversely, It's easy to think that something is a lie when it's outside of something that you are exposed to or used to. For example, there are some people, especially those who are called by the Father, who will end up in some of the craziest, most nightmarish situations. And things happen. And while they are trying to work to remedy and rectify the situation, sometimes it takes longer than we're comfortable with or even they're comfortable with. And what we want to understand is that there are times when people are genuinely lying to us, and there are times when situations are such that the person can't do something. What makes this situation with my client's client so impactful isn't just that the client of his was a leader in the church, but also the levels to which he took the deception that under which he was living and guided. And so that's one of those things that I want you to always be able to pay attention to, because when you, as someone walking in this earth, fall victim to a lie, there are certain things you need to do. Number one, hold your tongue. Figure out what's really going on before you step into that scenario. Because, see, what Revelation 22:15 tells us is that if you love that lie, you're staying on the outside of the city. That means you're not walking into any place that has anything to do with God, because the one thing he does not like is a lie. Lies destroy everything. Lies, secrets, rumors, gossip, all of them are part of the lie family. And so if you understand that it's part of the lie family, it doesn't matter if it's a lie of omission or if it's just a he, that's just a cute. Mm-mm. Here are certain things that are not lies in God's eyes. Somebody's planning a surprise party for you. That's not a lie. That's somebody trying to do something nice for you. Now, if they're planning a surprise party for you with all the people who want you dead or your enemies, then that's really not a good thing. And therefore, it falls into a different scenario. And I want you to understand that, because sadly, in this day and age, those types of people actually exist, right? Like, we're starting to see more and more and more of this level of craziness in our world. Everything that you do in your life, you want to be able to live your life where you can have it on the surface. You can have it come up, and sometimes it might look bad, but it is what it is. If it's a part of your history, if it's something that you've been through, if it's something that you've had to endure, if it's something that you're working on it, people are going to talk because that's what they do. They don't have anything better to do, but those are the people that Revelation 22:15 is talking about. Those are the ones who cannot stand in the face of the Father. You see, it's really easy for me to criticize you when I'm not doing anything. It's easy for me to criticize you when I'm the one who's being difficult. If somebody gets hurt in a situation and you reach out to say, I'm sorry, and they don't want to take your call, you don't have any control over that. That's them. And you have to let them be who they're going to be. People are going to accuse you of things. They're going to say things. They're going to do things, and they're going to do them for their own reasons. There are some people out there who just want to be victims. And that's the thing that God doesn't approve of. He's not looking for victims, and he's not interested in you constantly trying to appear as a victim. What he's interested in is you getting to a place where you trust that he has it, where no matter how many times you have to try and climb that mountain, you might slip back. But how you view that mountain, that's where the key is. You see, one of the reasons I preach so much to you that failure is not what you think it is, it's not what it appears to be. The world calls things failures, but the people in the world who call things failures are people who aren't doing anything. So let me tell you a story. You ready for this? There's this man in this little one of these little EBD towns that I've been having to deal with for the last few years that have been torturous. There is no reason there needs to be a town with less than 50,000 people, because they just need to be wiped off the map. I mean, they're cesspools of just nastiness. You would think that 2,000 people could just be happy. I don't understand for the life of me how you don't have traffic. You have grocery store. Like, The longest line these people wait in is 2 people deep. Any of you in those big cities know the difference? Like, don't you wish you could walk into Walmart at Christmas time and the line is 2 people deep? There's a person who is a big fish in this 2,000 person pond, and he swears that he is better than everybody. He's got 2 cents to rub together, and he's lost all sense because of it. And so he doesn't care how he treats people. He has terrible customer service. He does not go out of his way to make anybody feel like he is working with them. He won't budge on anything. I mean, nothing. This man is so preoccupied with what he wants that he doesn't even have time to think about what his family needs. It's ridiculous. These are the lies that we tell ourselves. You see, when we trust in things outside of the Father, we get corrupted every time. This man who's a big fish in a small pond, if you took him and put him in Manhattan, he'd fall on his tail. He wouldn't be able to survive. Yeah, he can do a week away in a big city, but if it came time to actually have to get down to the nitty gritty and live in one of these areas, he'd be broke. He'd be middle class at best. You understand what I'm saying? You see, it's really easy to allow yourself to be deceived when you have a comparison of 2,000 people. But when you have a million people that you're trying to compare yourself to, you suddenly get an easier balance of what it is you're actually working with. While it is not our job to compare ourselves, because that often exacerbates the look of failure, what I want you to understand is this: when I tell you failure is not what the world makes it, that man who has all that stuff, the big fish in the small pond, he is a failure all across the way. There's nothing he touches outside of money that succeeds. That's a loss. In the eyes of God, he has built a whole bunch of stuff, but on the night his soul is due, where will he be? These are the things I want you to look at, because where society places value is not where God places value. When you think that you are failing, God sees a success, because the real failure is the one who quits running the race. When you think that you are better than you are, when pride sets in God's eyes, you have just become the biggest failure that is out there, and He will happily bring you down. I promise you, it doesn't matter how long it takes. Anybody who loves the lie, they will fall. They will always fall. They will not end in a position of honor. And you have plenty of examples in history of people who were not great, who ended in dishonor. Understand that if you choose to love the lie, you're living away from the Father. Anybody who's out there preaching these lies, recently in the US, we had this whole deal where somebody was saying that the election was stolen, it was rigged, all this other stuff. And despite numerous court battles, it kept being proven over and over again that there was no wrongdoing. People's lives were threatened, they were harmed, they were put in situations of extreme danger because of this lie. That is something that God looks at and He frowns upon. So, for a church to back someone who does that, that's criminal. And that's a church you need to run away from. To steal an entire election across 50 states in the United States of America, especially, it's next to impossible. You would have to steal states that normally don't go a certain way. If California suddenly turned red, then you can believe it's a stolen election. If New York suddenly turned red, then you might want to believe it was a stolen election. Those types of things are the extremes that you would have to see for something like that to have been considered stolen. Now, I don't want you to get it twisted. I'm using the political system as an example because it is the most apparent example out there right now. And contrasting that with the Bible, understand this: it doesn't matter how often I say that something was stolen or something was this, the truth will always win out. That's why the truth makes you free. The truth always makes you free because there are certain things that God is not going to allow to stand. And lies against his name or his character, that's one of them. And it's something that he doesn't take lightly. And I want you to understand that. Before you go off half cocked, thinking that people have done things to you, that things have been done, pay attention to everything that happens in the situation. You see, one of the beauties of God is that he allows us, the Father and the Son, is that they allow us to elevate above situations. And I don't mean elevate in pride, I mean elevate in position, in vantage point. And they allow us to see an entire event based on their vision, how they see it. And that gives us the ability to be calm, to be relaxed, to be logical, and to be reasonable. If you keep allowing yourself to live in emotion, you are allowing yourself to live in the lie. Emotion is the bedfellow of lies. It's always rooted in some emotion. If I can get you to feel something, that's where I can get the lie to take place, to take hold and to take root and to move you to the next level. And that's something that I really want you to keep in mind as you go through this journey, as you continue walking through this world every day, and as you walk more and more in these biblical principles. I really want you to pay attention to that, because if you don't catch that, you'll be taken advantage of every single time. You heard it right out of the word itself. Revelation 22:15. Lovers of lies will not see the kingdom. So let me give you the exact wording that Jesus tells us, because it's Jesus who's talking. Outside the city are the dogs. Do you know why he uses examples of dogs? Because dogs do really gross and nasty things. They eat their own vomit, they eat cat poop. I mean, dogs are gross. Like, they may be man's best friend, they may be awesome as pets, but let's be real, they're nasty, right? They like to lick blood. I mean, just nastiness is what dogs do. And so he's saying outside the city are the dogs. Outside the city are these nasty people: the sorcerers, the sexually immoral, the murderers, the idol worshiper, and all, not some, not a few, all who love to live a lie. Those are secrets. The New Living Translation calls it who love to live a lie. The English Standard Version calls it everyone who loves and practices falsehood. The King James Version says, whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. It doesn't matter how you frame it. If you don't love his truth, the truth, and build your life around that, everything else is a lie. And you'll stay outside the city like a dog. Ask yourself if in the end, that's really where you want to be. If it is, keep doing what you're doing. But no, there's a price to be paid for that. If it's not, stop what you're doing, make a different choice, and shift how you're living your life. That's all he's asking you to do. I'll see you next Friday. Hey, it's Toina with Destiny Education. If you liked that video, take a moment to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the notification bell so that every single time we release a new video, you'll know all about it.